So Samsung is making a Galaxy Z Wide Fold. And yes, you heard that right. After the Fold, the Flip, and the Tri-Fold, Samsung's now Passport style, with a foldable specifically designed to compete with Apple's upcoming foldable iPhone. And here's the thing. The specs just leaked, and honestly, they're pretty marginal upgrades. But this might be Samsung's most experimental phone yet, and whether it succeeds or fails entirely depends on what Apple does. Let me explain. First, let's talk about what this thing actually is. According to Digital Chat Station, the Galaxy Z Wide Fold, and that's a tentative name, features a 7.6-inch main display. Now, that's slightly smaller than the 8-inch screen on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, but here's the key difference: the wider aspect ratio. When unfolded, this phone is designed to deliver a tablet-like experience, just like the foldable iPhone. It's a Passport-style foldable, breaking away from Samsung's traditional book-style approach. And that wide folding design, that's the whole point. It's meant to directly compete with Apple's unorthodox foldable design. Under the hood, we're looking at the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, the same processor expected in the Galaxy S26 Ultra. This would make the Wide Fold one of the fastest Android devices in that cycle. However, this isn't set in stone yet. Samsung might swap it out for their own 2nm Exynos 2600 chipset instead. There's still some uncertainty around which processor we'll actually get, but either way, we're talking flagship-level performance. Now, here's where things get frustrating. The Galaxy Z Fold 7's biggest weakness was its 4,400 mAh battery, exactly the same capacity as the Z Fold 6. And unfortunately, the Wide Fold isn't fixing this problem. Despite using a dual-cell battery configuration split as 2,267 mAh and 2,393 mAh cells for a combined rated capacity of 4,660 mAh, the typical capacity comes in around 4,800 mAh. That's still less than the 5,000 mAh barrier Samsung refuses to cross. Compare that to the Galaxy Z Tri-Fold's 5,600 mAh battery, or Chinese foldables that blow past these numbers, and it's just disappointing. Sure, it'll probably achieve all-day battery life, but there's nothing special here. Samsung already proved they could do better with the Tri-Fold. Why not use bigger batteries across the board? Here's what makes this phone so experimental. Samsung is betting on Apple's approach catching on. We know how apps will work on the foldable iPhone and how iOS will be redesigned for it. Apple is promising a more iPad-like experience with their foldable. Samsung is literally banking on that unorthodox approach resonating with consumers, unlike the iPhone Air. They're creating a direct competitor to match Apple's form factor and user experience philosophy. And that's the risky part. If the foldable iPhone doesn't sell as expected, the Galaxy Z Wide Fold suffers too. Remember the Galaxy S25 Edge? Same situation. A phone designed to compete with Apple's strategy that failed to gain traction. This is a gamble. 2026 is shaping up to be a massive year for foldables. Samsung, Huawei, and several Chinese brands are pushing hardware forward aggressively. And if Apple joins the race with their first foldable iPhone later this year, the stakes climb even higher. Samsung is creating a phone that lives or dies based on whether Apple's vision for foldables catches on with mainstream consumers. So here's the bottom line. The Galaxy Z Wide Fold is Samsung hedging their bets. 7.6-inch display, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, a 4,800 mAh battery that's better than the Fold 7 but still not great, and a Passport-style design that mirrors Apple's foldable strategy. For now, it's just a leak, But what it tells us about Samsung's thinking is fascinating. They're willing to create an entirely new foldable category just to compete with Apple. Whether that's brilliant or reckless depends entirely on how the foldable iPhone performs. What do you think? Is Samsung smart to follow Apple's lead, or should they stick to what they do best? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more foldable coverage as 2026 heats up, make sure you're subscribed. Catch you in the next one.